Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz1TV here, aka GLauren33. I'm back here with your My Hero Academia Chapter 309 review. Back on the manga. We took a break last week. Nothing much happened outside of Deku one-shotting Muscular like I predicted in our Chapter 307 review. And Deku, showed off Smokescreen, the quirk of the 6-1-for-0 user, right? So Deku just became a little bit more OP. He now has, 5 quirks that he can use at any time. But, nothing much happened outside of that, But we're back in it, back on track. This week's title is called I Can't Stay Being a Child. You guys have been showing a lot of support to the My Hero Academia reviews as of late. So make sure you guys subscribe. You guys are new to the channel, so you guys don't miss a video each week, especially when it comes to the My Hero Academia manga. And also make sure you guys leave a like so that other people can see the video as well. But yeah, we get a little bit of flashbacks with this week's chapter. I'm gonna be honest, this was a good chapter in my opinion, right? We get to see what led to Deku making the decision to leave UA, right? To become Batman or Sasuke, as some of you guys have referred to him. But we get to see what led to Deku making that decision. And, the last 6 chapters have mainly all been on Deku. The focus has been on Deku for the last 6 chapters. And I really want to see the perspective of Bakugo and, Izawa and Todoroki, because I really want to see what they think of this decision, especially Bakugo. We find out in this chapter that All Might actually, agreed with the decision of Deku to go with UA, and that Deku's actually staying with All Might right now. So let's talk about it. So like I said, the title is I Can't Stay Being a Child. So the chapter starts with 2 heroes from Shindo's school, Mr. Smith and Boomerang, and they arrive on the scene and they see that Deku's carrying Muscular from afar. But they notice that, one of them is an escapee from the Tatter's prison, but they don't know that it's actually Deku carrying him. They just see Muscular being carried away, because Deku's clearly, using his smokescreen technique. We also see that some of the citizens that refused to talk about evacuating with Shindo and Tatami a couple chapters ago, they ended up helping Tatami carry Shindo, and they say they'll listen to what they have to say. So remember, they were being stubborn because they believed that, they didn't need heroes to help them, because the only people that they can trust is themselves, because the heroes have disappeared. But now all of a sudden, after seeing what Shindo and then Masked Deku did, right, they know how dangerous this is, and they know that they can't beat all villains by themselves. So now they're listening to Shindo and Tatami and trying to, see how they can do their part. And that's going to be key for the rest of this, the rest of the show, as long as My Hero goes, because we know that a lot of the citizens have lost faith in the heroes because of how many have died, how many have quit, and how many have just left. And now that the world is pretty much open for the villains to do whatever they want. So it's going to be a theme to see how do the citizens regain trust in the heroes, right? Remember, Hero Society has been changed forever by what Shigaraki did. And, for Hero Society to return to normal, right, one of those requirements is going to be the citizens regaining faith in the heroes. So we see that Shindo regained his consciousness and he recognized Deku from the provisional license test. But internally, he said that Deku looked really different. And we know that Deku, we haven't really been able to see his mouth. The way, he's been drawn, they've been hiding his expressions, and we know from a mental mindset, he's much different now. He's not the same Deku, he's actually starting to grow up and mature, and it's part of the reason why he's making some of these decisions, like leaving UA. So we see Deku, he brings Muscular to the police, and then, he's still being surrounded by smokescreen to conceal his identity. So when the police arrive, Deku flees and then he leaves them unconscious, right? So Deku's actually kind of acting like Batman now. He's using smokescreen to keep people from seeing himself, right? And then he ties Muscular up to the police. He's not trying to hurt the police, but he doesn't want to give any indication of his identity, because he knows that people from UA are going to be looking for him. He knows people are going to be asking questions about Deku's connection to All Might. So Deku then says that the Force quirk had calmed down, and then he contacted All Might, letting him know that he's returning to their place. So Deku and All Might basically have a place together now because, All Might, he needs to keep his eyes on Deku because he's still Deku's master, even though Deku's getting stronger and stronger by the day. So All Might checks to see whether Deku has any injuries or not. Deku says that he was fine and his hands were also fine thanks to the support items that Deku had ordered from him from America, right? So there was a travel ban. This kind of reminds me of what's going on in the real world right now. It's like, the author is taking real life elements and incorporating them in his story, right? With the pandemic here, we actually had a travel ban. You're not allowed to really travel outside the country, and if you do, it's in rare cases, or rare occasions. So now you're seeing that here in My Hero Academia. There's a travel ban. People can't, go from America to Japan and Japan to America because I guess Japan's on lockdown because of what everybody's in like shelters now because, the danger of the villains. But we see that the support item that All Might got from America, it's called Mid Gauntlets, right? Mid Gauntlets, and it looks like the same gauntlet that we saw Deku have in the sports festival. Right? It was the sports festival, I think so. But remember, these are from America, so we don't know if her product was, if it got like a patent. And then, it was actually, produced and merchandised and sold in America. We don't know that. But, I can't sit here and not notice the similarities, right? So, but we learned that these mid gauntlets, right? They help strengthen Deku's body, and it helps him, withstand the power of One For All. Because remember, Deku can't fully control One For All yet. He can use it up to, I believe, 45% now, and he can use 100% in, rare situations. But remember, it breaks his body apart the longer he uses it. So, these gauntlets are helping him able to withstand One For All more and more. But All Might also says that this product is still a test sample product, right? It's not the full product yet. So All Might tells Deku not to overdo it before the next battle, right? So then we see All Might, he gets a call from Hawks, and at the same time, Deku's danger sense awakens. So Hawks asks how Deku was doing, and all of a sudden Deku flees. So Deku's going right back into battle, right? So basically, Deku's out here trying to take out all these villains, while concealing his identity. So once again, another similarity to Batman. They're really making, people believe in this whole Deku is Batman storyline, right? So as Deku flees, All Might gets nervous, but Hawks reminds All Might that finding All For One and Shigaraki is the best chance of stopping the villains and returning Hero Society to normal, right? So basically, if Deku fights more and more, the more control he can gain over his new powers, the more control he can gain over One For All, and the more ready Deku will be for once they find All For One and Shigaraki, because that's the battle they're building up towards. They're telling you the battle they're building up towards is Deku versus Shigaraki and All For One. So Hawks also says that he understands that All Might is in a difficult position, but he wishes that All Might continue the cooperation. So then we get a flashback. So All Might flashbacks to when they're in the hospital. We see that Aniko, Deku's mother was there, and we see that Deku had just waken up. So we actually get to see Deku wake up from from his coma. Because remember, Deku was talking to the One For All predecessors, and then it just skips to a couple months later, and Deku he leaves UA. So we get to see Deku, he's up and his casts are open, and we find out that Deku can still move his arms and legs, right? Because remember, they told us if Deku kept breaking his arms and legs, there's a chance that he won't be able to use them anymore. But we learned that the reason why Deku's able to continue to use his arms and legs is because that even though the injuries he sustained were just as bad, if not worse, than when he broke them the first time, but it's because Deku has become stronger, right? So Deku has become a lot stronger in terms of his quirks and his physical abilities. So that's the reason why he can withstand, his arms and legs breaking, which is crazy, right? Deku breaks his arms and legs to an extent where they shouldn't be able to be used anymore. But because he keeps improving, right? Basically, they're telling you that Deku could break his arms and legs again and he'll be fine, which is wild to add when you actually think about it. That's crazy, especially from where Deku starts at the beginning of My Hero Academia. So then All Might explains One for All to Aniko, right? And Aniko repeats All Might's explanation about the fact that Deku could have the power because he's quirkless, and now he's being targeted by the enemy because of that power. All Might said that they can protect Deku and UA, but then Deku cuts them off and butts in. Deku says that he will leave UA because Shigaraki can track his location and they could come and attack anytime, and Deku doesn't want anyone to get hurt. So Deku has his own flashback. During the flashback, Deku has a flashback of the people who fought together with him during the war in heavy injured condition. So he's talking about Todoroki, he's talking about Bakugo, he's talking about Gran Tornio and Izawa. So Deku doesn't want to put his friends in danger. Here's the thing though, right? Deku chooses to leave UA, right? And he's doing it to protect his friends who he cares about, but Deku's still taking most of this burden on his own. Yes, he has All Might, he has Hawks, he has Best Genius and Endeavor behind him, right? But what's stopping the League of Villains to not go back to UA and then try to take one of, let's say they try to take, I don't know, they take Tokoyami, or they take Kirishima, right? Or they take, Grapefruit or Aoma, right? They decide to take, one of Deku's friends hostage to draw Deku out. So it's not like that UA's not in danger. They know Deku goes to UA, or at least he did for the first year. And they know that Deku will do anything to protect his friends. So what's stopping the League of Villains from not going to UA and attacking Class 1A to try to draw Deku out? Like, just because Deku's leaving doesn't mean that UA's not in danger. We know that All For One and Shigaraki want to steal One For All from Deku, but that Deku leaving doesn't necessarily mean that, Class 1A is no longer in any danger. Doesn't mean that at all. So we'll see. And I would not be surprised if they go down that direction. So Iniko says she can't accept it, but Deku said he'll become stronger, and then we get this really, really sweet panel of young Deku playing with his mom, and then we go in the present, and we see Deku with the scars all over his arms and everything like that, and he's hugging his mom in the hospital bed. A very, very sweet and emotional panel. I cannot wait to see that animated. So then All Might decided to go with Deku, right, as Deku leaves UA, and then we see that All Might contacted the top three, aka Endeavor, Best Genius, and Hawks, to announce that they were leaving. So Best Genius agreed and said it's a favorable decision for them. Deku then visits Gran Tornio and tells him about Nana. Remember, Nana told Deku that when he wakes up, go talk to Gran Tornio and apologize for me, right? Gran Tornio smiled and fondly teased Nana for crying even after she's dead. Gran Tornio apologized to Deku because he should be the one to kill Shigaraki, right? So basically, remember, Nana said the same thing. We're putting all this responsibility on a 16-year-old boy, right? To, become the strongest hero ever and take out Shigaraki in All For One, And then also Gran Tornio gives advice to Deku to not be obstinate, because sometimes killing can be a form of salvation. Remember, Deku said he doesn't want to kill Shigaraki if he doesn't have to, right? He believes Shigaraki needs saving. But a lot of people have been giving Deku the advice that, just because you want to save Shigaraki, if you have to kill him, and if you have the chance to do it, because he will continue to harm people as long as you keep him alive, right? So then we get the last page. We get this nice little panel of Deku plus the top three plus All Might teaming up to settle the matter with the League of Villains, and that's the end of the chapter. So it really does feel like we are in the final, the final section. I'm not gonna say the final arc, but it looks like we are entering the final act, the final section of My Hero Academia. I don't know if they're setting up for a sequel. I hope they are, but it really does feel like, now we have the top three, right, with Best Genius, Hawks, and Endeavor. We also have Deku. All Might, he's there, but he's only there as, Deku's master, his mentor, right? Remember, we know that All Might can't fight anymore. He's just there to give guidance at this point. And I feel like at some point, All Might even have to sacrifice himself, right? That could be what this could be setting up for in this final battle. But it does feel like they are setting up for one last decisive battle with the big three and Deku going up against the League of Villains. I don't know what's going to happen with Bakugo and the rest of Class 1A. Yeah, I still need to see that perspective, and I hope that we're getting close to that. Right, because like I said, they focused these last 5-6 chapters on Deku, and I like Deku, and I understand it's his story, but I also want to know what's going on with Bakugo and the other Class 1A members. What are they thinking, right, about Deku and his decision? So I really do hope that we get that in the next couple chapters, right? Because I'm not saying I'm getting tired of the Deku focus. I'm just saying I want to see what everybody else is thinking. I don't want it just to be Deku, 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 okay? But let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. It was a good one. I really, especially the moment with Deku and his mother. That was a very good moment. I also love the last panel of Deku there with the top three. But, you know, other than that, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. I will be back here next week with My Hero Academia chapter 310. We'll see what's going on, what's next as we continue with the Deku leaving UA arc. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys later, man. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel by hitting the bell right next to my name, Fitzwag TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. I'll see you guys later. Stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.